What's going on, y'all? We back. One Piece chapter 1167. I have awakened from my Thanksgiving food coma. Let's get right into the chapter reaction. All right. Chapter 1167. Ida's Son. And we got a cover page request by Ideal Sanji. A cat is scolded for stealing a book, but Gen and Nojiko aren't mad. Okay. And the cat obviously reminds them both of Nami the cat burglar. So that's kind of nice. The book says Fish Encyclopedia, which is pretty funny. And then there's the old guy in the back that's chasing after the cat. All right. All right, let's get into it. We're still in the flashback with Harold and Loki. Where we left off last chapter was Harold giving himself to the world government, saying that he'd be a slave if it would allow the giants to basically have a good standing with the world government. So I'm pretty sure the flashback's probably going to end this chapter or next chapter, but now we're at 33 years ago, 5 years after the God Valley incident. And okay, we'll see. I could have sworn pirates were approaching offshore. Someone is saying to Big News Morgan. I don't know if he's big news at this point yet. And he's writing in his little notebook. But there was something huge and shadowy emerging from behind them. The underwater prison impelled down. Everything just went kaboom after that. Our ship was in ruins before we knew it. We were nothing but fish food. But you sure it wasn't a Sea King that attacked? No way. It was shaped like a human. Damn, so sounds to me like Harold is doing the world government's bidding, which don't tell me you were in the infamous waters of the Florian Triangle. Fat chance. We don't fish near that region. Everyone knows to avoid it. Anyway, that monstrous thing was definitely human-like. During this period, a rumor began to circulate. Among the Grand Line countries, they said a monster lurked deep in the foggy seas, targeting pirate crews. And you see a silhouette of a big-ass ship and someone about to jump down on the off that hub and slam the hell out this pirate ship. The identity of that monster was none other than Harold as he smashes that freaking ship in half. Few who sailed those waters had ever seen a giant with their own eyes, so to them he was nothing less than the very embodiment of fear. Harold now worked in the shadows to back up the Navy as part of his atonement for the last 1,000 years of history. Meanwhile, the pirates who had gone their separate ways after God's Valley, Nisho and Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard, continued to rise in prominence, and over the decade or so, each of them would peak to become a defining face of their generation. Most of these pirates simply clashed over territory, and it shows Homeboy with his tongue out and Shiki, which is kind of funny that Shiki, initially we were led to believe that Shiki was kind of like on the same level as Roger and Whitebeard to an extent at least. But here they're pretty much kind of minimalizing him as one of the somewhat lesser members of the Rocks crew as far as what he was able to achieve after the fact. However, one crew broke through all the others and achieved a feat long believed impossible. They circumnavigated the entire world, and it shows the Roger Pirates. They were hailed as the crew of the king of the pirates, Gold Roger. The public execution of the captured Pirate King was meant to serve as a spectacle, a display of the world government's power. However, the world was plunged into even greater turmoil as countless souls set out in pursuit of the vast treasure Roger left behind, the One Piece. No one had anticipated the advent of the Great Pirate Era. Navy headquarters fought itself, caught off guard as a result. More than 10 giants were drafted into the Marines from all over the world in an effort to consolidate strength. During this stretch of time, Harold waited on hand and foot. He's an ancient giant. I want to make him my slave. Did you see how huge he was? I hate the celestial dragon so bad. And that very year, he was finally granted formal permission to visit the Holy Land. A shallow sea contract? That is correct. Um, One of the Gorosei saying this, my man with the beard, not the beard, the mustache, excuse me. He turns into a giant warthog. I think it's top man. Consider yourself the right hand of the gods' knights. God's steel. And it shows he has the tattoo on his arm that reminds me of the one that they showed Shanks has at the very beginning of this flashback. It is a great honor. And no, you shameful, Harold, you shameful. Rox would not like this. He would not have been okay with this at all. There are 3 levels of contract. The shallow sea contract is a more minor pact. The deep sea and deep sea contracts are reserved for those who are to be bound fully to the true God. Only 13 individuals in the entire world receive that privilege. What do you mean by God? You will only come to know the greatest depths of this world on the day you become a full Knight of God. Bold Man is saying, Venus Jiro. Could Elbaf become a member nation then? Wow, Harold's been doing all this shit, and Elbaf isn't even a member nation yet, which is just crazy. Naturally, Harold, at that point, the entire world would be clamoring to welcome you. They've been using and abusing my boy, yo. That's crazy. Pause. I'm grateful for this opportunity to prove myself. And now we're seeing in between age of Saint Garling, captain of the Knights of God, the Figarland family, Saint Garling. And he kind of looks like a midway point between the way he looks on God Valley and the way that he currently looks. I'm wondering if his hair is already like turning a different color here or not. Anyway, the Knights Temple, Shangara, domain of the gods. What is the Great One planning? You're gonna obey us even though you're king of Elbaf? Of course. Just say the word, and it shows the guy that be laughing a lot that's on Elbaf right now that has the thorn powers, and it's showing Shamrock looking just like Shanks in the face, as he probably should be. We'll keep a long distance transponder snail on hand and call if we have need of you, Garling says. You will be free to travel the surface world, but you are forbidden to speak of our dealings. Understood. 20 years ago, Ryugu Kingdom, Fishman Island. Ho 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 ho, bar ha 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 ha. I haven't laughed this hard in a long time, Neptune. Me too, pal Jamon. We both have our fair share of headaches, don't we? Yeah, man. To be honest, I don't think your son is that bad deep down. Let's not forget what your youth was like. Well, when you put it like that, I'm just being brutally honest. Anyway, did I tell you a fortune teller predicted I'd have a daughter in 4 years, Jamon? When the time is right, why don't we betroth Loki to my future daughter? And he's like, bah ha ha ha. Now you're going too far. Cut it out. Hey, don't write her off so fast. She's not gonna be just any old mermaid. My daughter might as well be born with a power no one else could ever hope to handle. Well, now, that does sound like a perfect match. Let's have a toast. Here's to the futures of my mischievous troublemaker and your little Mosa Mosa. Don't call her that. She won't be Shaggy. She won't be Shaggy? I'm not sure what that means. That same year, Owl Library, Elbaf. Don't mention it. You're welcome to live freely here, Saul. Okay, this is the time. By the time that Saul is recovered from his what we thought was his final resting place, and now he's probably gotten back to health. And Harold pretty much is saying, "Yo, you could stay, build your life here, yada yada yada. You are a giant at the end of the day." Actually, there's one thing I'd like to ask. Harold says, "What is it? If we get other learned folks on Elbaf to help, would you be willing to open a school here?" A school, huh? That's a nice idea. 15 years ago, a major incident occurred at the Holy Land of Marijwa. My slaves are running. The cells are broken. Okay, this is, yeah, I figured this is who this was. Hurry, or do you want to be their pet forever? Huff huff. And oh man, who's there waiting for my guy? Fisher Tiger. Fisher Tiger's on the run right now. Damn it, is that a God's Night? Is it Shamrock? It looks like a Shamrock. Oh, he hit him right through his chest. Listen, the armory will be left unlocked for you. I'll tell you the location. No, this is Shanks. Oh, Shanks was there. That's crazy. Is it Shanks? I don't know. Why they look like Shamrock? I don't feel like Shamrock would do this. He seems like an evil bastard. I'm trying to think how old Shanks was at this point, but I think that this is Shanks that helped Fisher Tiger leave. Listen, the armory will be left unlocked for you. I'll tell you the location. Yeah, wow, gunpowder. Hurry, big sis. Sandersonia. There's someone out there, someone fighting to free us from this hell. Hurry, hurry, Koala. You have to run. This attack on the Holy Land was carried out by Fisher Tiger. In the wake of this incident, he would go on to become captain of the Sun Pirates. Sounds like it was pretty rough. They say someone with the government must have left the armory open for them. Now it's up to us to find the culprit. I can't wait to execute them. There's someone I want to introduce you to, Harold. His name is Shanks. Huh? He's Shamrock's younger brother. They were separated a long time ago due to circumstances. You see? And he's gonna have that freaking arm patch. You know what I'm saying? So what? Shanks went back to the Holy Land at one point and ended up working with the God Knights. That's pretty crazy. He suffered many hardships in the surface world. If he were to form a deep sea contract, I believe he'd be a great asset, on par with Shamrock. For the time being, however, he's been given the rank of God's Steel, just like you. I know I said the same thing when so there was a period in time where Shanks was just a freaking the long arm of the law, basically. That's pretty crazy, yo. Anyway, I know I said the same thing when I first met Shamrock too, but I can't shake the feeling that I've met you before. I don't know what you're talking about. You're just some giant commoner from the surface, keeping up appearances, clearly. Don't act so familiar with me. I was blessed from birth with the Figarland blood in my veins. Also, clearly, Shanks's left side of his face is bandaged up, so he must already have the scar. Guess I mistook you for someone else. Come on, Shamrock. I wish to deepen my knowledge of the Holy Land. And I shall apprehend that traitor to claim the credit I deserve. Are there any leads? It can wait till your wounds are fully healed, Shanks. You cannot fathom the anguish of having the last 24 years of your life wasted. No wonder the rest of the world seems so alien to me. Godsteel, devotee, Figarland family, Saint Shanks, Knight of God, Knight of God? Yeah, God Knight, Figarland family, Saint Shamrock. That's pretty crazy, yeah. I hated everything down there, Shanks says, but he's clearly capping. Harold can see through his bullshit. He's kind of looking like, nigga. Anyway, that same year, the fishing village on Elbaf. Why do you guys think that Shanks did this? You know what I'm saying? He could have just continued to live his life out just the way he is now, you know, being a freaking, just a Yonko in this world, obviously. So, what do you think was his purpose for coming back here? I guess it's being said right here. He wants to learn a lot about the Holy Land. But is his end goal really to just be similar to Dragon and getting rid of the Celestial Dragons? Why does he care about the One Piece now? You know what I'm saying? This is really interesting. This is probably the most interesting part of the chapter so far. That same year, the fishing village on Elbaf. It's no good. My medical knowledge is too limited. Let's call Harold and see if he can get us in touch with a more skilled doctor. Don't. He's got a lot on his plate now. What's the point of fostering a network with the world government if we don't use it? I can recover on my own, and damn, it's Ida who's bedridden. Damn, Ida's out of here for sure. You keep saying that, but you're getting weaker by the day. You have to get better. Harold will be heartbroken if you don't, you know. Motto, keep the tavern open. No way. How can I when you're this sick, Ida? Whenever Harold's home, he always goes straight to the elders and begs them to allow you to legally marry. That fool. He knows I'm happy with my tavern. I enjoy befriending sailors from all over the world. It may not be much, but I feel like I'm helping Harold by doing that. Hey, foreign hag, that's crazy. What? Loki, cook up this meat for the old hag, will ya? That's crazy. The tavern's my main hangout spot. I want her to reopen it. Good grief, that troublemaker has grown out of hand. I'm glad you've been able to keep him in line. Even with Hajrudin and his friends away, looking for a doctor, your boys really love you. Everyone's blowing this out of proportion, Huff. I'll be fine, but it does make me smile. Elbath, Alcohol Village, hometown of Loki's birth mother. Huh? What'd you just say? We were talking about how utterly unbearable it'd be if you to let that foreign bitch worm her way into the royal family. You're with us, right, Loki? We're Estrid's relatives. She was Harold's true wife. We can't let anyone have a claim on our inheritance. That's why I slipped her a dose of poison. That stuff is fatal. Her days are numbered. Wow, what a fuck. Anyway, motto, we can't hold off on bringing Harold anymore. On it. We may not be related by blood, but I see him the way I do Hajrudin. Loki is still my cute little son. And you see Loki got the fear, putting the fear of the devil in these guys, not the fear of God. And you just see in a silhouette, and he look like he about to be on demon time right now with a big ass hammer. He about to play whack-a-mole with this fool. Ah, Loki, hey. Ida isn't really gonna die, right? I still remember my birth mother. She hated me. She had me thrown into the realm of the dead. Who gives a shit about a inheritance? Your whole family is nothing but trash. Now, answer. Ida won't actually die, right? She's, as he's holding this man like in his freaking grip. I bet you must get. Oh, this is a little flashback of her. I bet you must get pretty lonely, right? Okay. Wouldn't it be better to stay with us? The only mother I've ever known. His true feelings pour out. And man, it's crazy how within just a few chapters or whatever, Oda really knows how to make you flip the way that you feel about a character. That's the end, by the way. And man, we came into the arc feeling like Loki's just like this bastard. He's an asshole. You know what I'm saying? He just likes being mean for the sake of being mean. But it's clearly that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? Underneath that rough exterior, he's a little bit of a softie for the people that he has those emotions for. You know what I'm saying? And it's just gonna break my heart when we get to the next chapter and he ends up having to kill his own father and then just take all that on his shoulders. It's like the only people that have ever really cared about him, Rox, Ida, Harold, all of them are gonna be gone by the time the end of this arc is over. And there's gonna be nobody left, you know what I'm saying? It's just gonna be Hajrudin, who his mom wouldn't have wanted the two of them to fight, but at the end of the day, Hajrudin obviously is gonna blame him for what happened to their father at the end of the day. As well as the rest of Elbaf. Man, Oda's been hitting us in the fields recently, this whole flashback, really. But yeah, this is a good chapter. I think my favorite part, everyone's favorite part, and the most talked about part is probably going to be about Shanks being one of the, not necessarily a god knight, but god steel devotee, basically an arm of the gods, which is very interesting. Do you think that he rises the ranks more and becomes a deep sea or deep sea god, whatever? And if not, who do you think would be those characters, or will we just not have seen them yet? Okay. And thank you for watching. This is a really interesting episode or chapter to react to. Have a good day. Enjoy your holiday and eat some turkey.